And last but not least, for day 2, Sajin, I'm really excited. We've always been in touch through the community over the years, and I've seen you've been building and growing, and we're talking about India, and what's happening there. You're mentioning maybe a conference in person, maybe in June, stuff like that. I mean, I really appreciate and notice what you're working on. Fistful, you have some things to say before he starts?
Yeah, we had Sajin at NamesCon, and he definitely got everybody hyped up there. He gave off a lot of good energy. So I'm expecting the same thing. Sajin's gonna kill it up here, talking about his new micro registry. So I'm really excited to hear more about this. We'll just let you take it away, man.
Yeah, let's go.
Hey, thanks everybody. This time I'm going to have to stay in the backdrop, and it's going to be a presentation. So let's just get on with it. We have a lot of stuff planned for this half-an-hour session, so I don't want to waste too much time. I'm just going to get on with it. So while I wanted to talk essentially about future use cases and some of it, there's been a lot of requests from the community, from many who wanted to create a registry for themselves. So how did we go about building a registry? So I decided to spend about 10 minutes right in the beginning. Quickly, I don't want to get too much into the technical stuff. We can always connect later. But if you're a developer, you have some understanding, you should be able to figure it out. But while our product right now has moved from that point, which was a minimum viable product at that point of time. But I can't really get into the details of where we are now. We are way ahead building stuff. But yes, I want to share how we got to that MVP and how other friends from the community can do the same. And we can ship those TLDs so that, people get to understand what these smart names are and what their use cases is. So let's get on with it. So I'll just quickly introduce myself. My name is Sajin. I represent Agamin Technologies. We are a handshake registrar based in India. And so just before I get into it, by profession, I'm a marketing guy and I'm a filmmaker, an ad filmmaker. And as an agency, we had significant amount of exposure to the travel industry. So in 2020, when the lockdown came, that was not a good time for us. And I knew that while the rest of my friends could kind of, do remote work, shooting, especially travel, is not something you can do remotely. It requires physical presence. So we knew we were going to be on the bench for a while. So just wanted to relook at my investments, just see, how things were going to go and how long I was going to hold on and what other career options I could look at. So just one of those days, let's just go with that. Yeah. So I was just there and looking at YouTube, Google, low cap coins to invest. So after spending some time doing some research, coming across a few things, I don't know how many of you have heard of something called Nansen. I ran upon this Andreessen Horowitz chap. And while I could make out all the other tokens in his portfolio, I'd never heard of this one, Handshake. I was like, okay, what is that? Because I kind of knew the rest. So I looked it up on the internet and soon it led to me this place. And the rest, as they say in popular literature, is history. This was end of 2020. Fast forward to end of 2021. We had Agamin. So how did I get to that point from an enthusiast who was interested in a new technology, dabbled in a bit of domain buying, selling, auctioning, like all of us. I spent my time on Namebase. But then we got to this point. So one was, we will get to that point, aspect later in the presentation as to why we are doing this and what our plans for the future are. Let's quickly get over with the how did we make this thing. So as a non-tech person who had no exposure to technology, I had to learn a lot of stuff. I had to go online. I had to look up YouTube. And I don't mind being an ambassador for YouTube today because truly an amazing platform that humanity's created or somebody's created. You can learn anything under the sun there. You can go from being a filmmaker to a techie overnight. It's just awesome. So after all of my studies, I figured out a handshake registry essentially has 4 basic components. Now, a lot of techies in the community may not agree with the way I think. because since I'm not a techie, I do not have the tools that techies think. So I had to take a different approach. So that led me to these things. A handshake TLD, naturally everybody needs to have one. An NS infrastructure that consists of a TLD name server and an authoritative name server. A registry solution and a registrar solution. So if I were to look at it a little visually, there's a user whose browser sends a query to the root zone, to the handshake blockchain, which then forwards that query to a TLD name server. In our case, it's .ba, or could be any other TLD, which then forwards that query to an authoritative name server. So in which case you have the domain name there, which then gets back to the user with the IP address. At the back end, there is this registry, and there is a registrar solution that helps the registry talk to these servers as and when required. This is the larger overall high-level picture of most registries, okay? So if you can kind of get this picture in your mind, you kind of have solved the problem. Going forward, now, this is the minimum viable product, which we launched in Jan. As I said, we've moved beyond that point right now. But again, it had 4 components: a handshake TLD, an NS infrastructure, a registry solution, and a registrar solution. A handshake TLD, an NS infrastructure, a TLD name server, authoritative name server, and a registry solution. Handshake TLD, well, I don't think I need to tell the community how to get your hands on one. We'll just move straight to the NS infrastructure. Now, an NS infrastructure should ideally have 2 servers, a TLD server and an authoritative server. There are many big company systems and it is possible to use one server to kind of do both the jobs, but it's kind of bad practice, especially going forward where people have individual identities and they're going to put important information on your authoritative server, such as text records for wallets, your email, logins, and so on and so forth. So to prevent a single point of failure, you want to ideally break these up so that you have your risk is kind of distributed. So my experience is if you have multiple TLDs, you should have multiple servers for each of these TLDs, and they all should have their own authoritative servers, and you should have backups. Technically speaking, there is no difference between these 2 servers. They're exactly the same. It's just for the purposes of labeling. We're labeling them as separates. You can look up various solutions: Power DNS, Atomia DNS, Bind, and there are quite a few others. In the end, we decided to go with Power DNS because I loved the UI. As a non-tech person, I thought that it was something that I could kind of use on a day-to-day basis. This is what the larger dashboard looks like. 3 users, we have about 7 domains, 863 events, and it's been up for about 4 months, 3 weeks, and 18 hours. So as you can see, very user-friendly, very clean, nice UI. So that's the NS infrastructure. Let's now go to the registry solution. Now, what is a registry? It sounds very complicated, but if you break it up, a registry is basically just a register, a database of names tethered to a bigger name. As you can see here, Google is tethered to .com. So what is that tool out there? I don't need to probably create it. What is that tool out there that helps me to manage a database with a primary name and secondary names tethered to it? That's it. If I can get that done, voila, you have your registry. So we did look at some other solutions like Nomulus and Fred, but they were just way too complicated and I didn't want to go through that. So I wanted to look at something that would help me manage a database, manage the users who interact with that database, easy to use UI, both for me as well as the users, payment gateway, and billing. Now, why do I mention billing? Now, there are a lot of solutions out there that offer billing. But if you are selling domains, because there is renewals, there are various other factors, you need to be able to customize that billing solution. While it may seem far away from what we are trying to do, billing solution is going to be important. So if you're picking up a ready-made tool, make sure it has a robust billing solution that you can customize. So where could I find something that had a billing solution and an ability to manage? So I decided to look at industries close to the domain space. And I managed to, again, go on YouTube, do a lot of Googling and hosting solutions. Now, hosting solutions are typically SaaS products used by local resellers or affiliates who manage their customers. So you'll find a lot of them who are basically downstream sellers of GoDaddy or HostGator and so on and so forth. And they at local level sell hosting solutions to small companies and so on and so forth. So they have a robust billing solution, and it's very close to the industry. And you can, again, look them up. Quite a few of them available in the market. Some of them are open source. We decided to go with WHMCS at that point of time because we liked the overall UI. It offered a lot of features. And the one interesting thing I found about all of these hosting solutions is they have a small domain registration module. This is usually there for clients who use hosting from them, and sometimes they may need a child domain, sometimes they may need a backup domain, sometimes they may need additional domains. So all of these solutions have this little domain registration thing built in. So now I had what I wanted, a domain registration system and a billing system that can manage the users who are using that. So we basically stripped everything away from that. We just kept the domain registration and the billing and got rid of everything else. And that formed the heart at that point of our registry. So boom, WHMCS ad. They should pay me. Anyway, that's what the dashboard looks like. Very neat, very clean, nice interface, easy to manage. This is an admin panel, which is the backend panel. So you don't really need to get into a whole lot of this codes and stuff. It's pretty much an easy to go, no code solution. So something I'm very fond of because the community may have a lot of entrepreneurs. Not everybody may be a techie. So here you go. And on top of this whole WHMCS powered register, we built a registrar module, which helps us connect and talk to these name servers. For instance, when somebody sends a query, like sergeant.bha, is this domain name available or not? The registrar module checks with the name servers and gets back with the query saying if it's available or not, so on and so forth. So if you update your DNS records and all, the registrar module helps it reflect it on the server. So that's what the registrar. So this is essentially what our deck is. Now, if you guys want to reach out and have a better chat, we can do that later. If you want to know how to make a registrar, I can't really put it out here. But again, Google and YouTube is the way to go. That did it for us. I'm sure it'll do it for you. Just a snapshot of what we have. So we are a Handshake mega registrar. That's what we call ourselves. We started out as a micro registry. We are now a mega registrar. Why? We have our own registry. We have our own TLDs. In fact, that's what we are going with. So the TLDs are owned by us. We will eventually move to staking as well. So we'll take TLDs from outside. We are registrars. We offer name servers. So our users have DNS management systems so they can add records and stuff like that. We plan an app, iOS and Android, soon. SLD marketplace. So we have a TLD marketplace, but I think we also need an SLD marketplace so that all the people who are currently buying SLDs, they can put it to some use. So typically in my experience, domainiers are the ones who show the initial interest in these market segments, and they like to flip. So it's important to give them a platform to flip, while we also work on other use cases, which the average user who's not looking to flip, but for looking to use it for personal purposes can use it. Just some initial screens of our app. It's still work in progress, but it looks neat, good UI. And so anyway, I'm glad we got kind of that part and coming to the interesting bit. Why are we here? So why did a filmmaker have to kind of go through all of this and get into tech, apart from the obvious financial considerations, which can happen in any field? Why this? Because for the first time when I came across Handshake, I felt here was a piece of technology that was truly inclusive. It took care of everything. It grandfathered the entire past of the internet, and it was poised to father the future of it. So, given this powerful tool that is available to us, and looking at the way Web3 is coming up. Now, if I just want to spend a little time on identity here. Today, if you and I connect on, say, a current Web2 legacy platform like Facebook, even after our interaction is over, even after we've left the platform, we are still there. in that platform, our data, our identities, everything. Whereas in, say, real life, if you were to meet in a coffee shop, we would not be there in the coffee shop until we are there. If we are there for half an hour, we are there. The moment we've left the place, we are not there in the coffee shop again. This is because we control our identity. Our identity moves with us. Wherever we go, it's there. Wherever we don't go, it's not there. But that's not how it is in Web 2. Your identities are somewhere else, and you kind of lease it from them in a way. Web 3 is going to ensure that everybody has their own identity. Everybody's going to have their own names. That's also one of the reasons why we are able to look at things like metaverse, because now, you can literally move with the identity. So here we ran a huge risk of creating a digital divide. Unlike entrepreneurs, where everybody's going to have a username, and a significant part of the human population is not an English-speaking or a Latin alphabet-based culture. That's a better way to put it, because you may not speak English, but if you are still familiar with Latin alphabets, it's fine. Non-Latin alphabet-based cultures, there was a huge risk of all of these people not being onboarded into this new digital revolution. It's important that they're able to access critical services in their mother tongue. So that's the genesis of where we came from. And in a country like India, with 1.3 billion people, and only 125 speak English, that's a whole lot of people who don't. And if you add to whole of South Asia and other cultures, that's just a lot of people. So we wanted to address that part. Create an internet that works for everyone. The world has 4.6 billion internet users, and that number is growing fast. 1.35 billion speak English. That's 3.35 billion people who do not speak English, and that is the target audience that we are primarily looking to target. While we will have products that look to speak to the Latin alphabet-based cultures, we want to primarily serve these 3.35 billion people. And out of these 3.35 billion people, 1.5 billion of them are in India and the Middle East. And if you actually expand that out a little, say if you take Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Bhutan, Nepal. So if you look at South Asia and the Middle East, that number goes higher. That's 2 billion people right there. And that is our starting point and focus area for the next 2 years. This is what we are going to target. And here is where we are going to try and create a regional vernacular internet for people. How are we going to do that? We will start with NFTLDs in both vernacular and emojis. So in the vernacular side, Bha for Bharat. So in India is called Bharat in our indigenous languages. So the starting alphabet would be Bha, the sound Bha. So there are various languages. So we are starting with Bha in Hindi, Bengali, Malayalam, Punjab, Telugu, Tamil, Urdu, Kannada. Sorry, I think that's Telugu. And then there's Kannada, that's Odia, that's Gujarati, and that's Arabic. So these are the vernacular series that we have planned for this year. On the emoji side, we are going to have country flag along with profession. So if I have Sergeant. The Indian flag and music, that name communicates the information that I am an Indian musician or I am an Indian filmmaker, and so on and so forth. So I know most of you know these things, but there are a few of our friends who are not from the community we've invited. So just so that you know, these smart names can become your unique name for your avatar in the metaverse. It can be a unique wallet address, just like for those of you who are from India, you would be used to using a phone number as a wallet address for UPI. So it's a pretty similar concept with the handshake name for the entire digital space. And even as future government currencies come out, it opens up a possibility of developing wallets that can even maybe support these blockchain-based fiat currencies in the future. It can work as a domain name for your website. It can be a universal login to all the dApps, just like we use our Google and Facebook IDs to sign into various apps. It's an investment as a non-fungible asset. As we are working on decentralized SLDs, a long way to go still. Once those come out, they will also be non-fungible tokens. It also supports vanity email IDs like namaste@neha.ba or even emoji-based ones. In short, these smart names are your de facto social security or Aadhaar cards if you are in this part of the world for users of Web3. I use the word Web3 now, but in some time there will be no Web3. There'll just be the internet. Web3 will be the default. We are available at these four names. Agamin, that's our handshake name. We are also on the Hindi and the Bengali TLDs of .bha, which is agamin.bha in Hindi and agamin.bha in Bengali. And for all of you who are still unfortunately on the legacy internet, agamin.in. Other languages in forms of SLDs will follow soon. Our team, that's our rockstar dev, Raju, lead developer. I don't know if you're attending the event, but if you are, do say a hi in the chat so that the community can reach out to you. Then there's Dakshita. When I asked for her picture, this is what she sent. That's because she handles everything, and I get it. We are overworking you. So that's our team. We are three of us. We are bootstrapped. And what is our roadmap to HandyCon 2023? We are sitting at 2022. What are we planning for the next 1 year? I'm going to spend one slide looking at what are the stuff we've already covered. On the 1st of Jan 2022, 0 hours, we went live with the Hindi TLD and we got a lot of press coverage. You guys can Google us and you'll get to see that. On the 15th of Feb, we came out with DNS management or name servers for our users. So now they can add records, wallet IDs, and all of that stuff can happen. Dark mode on the 25th of February. I have to give a shout out to that microacquire chap, some Gazeski. His tweets about dark mode just literally made me paranoid and I just had to get one. So dark mode, there it is. And on the 8th of March, we launched this Women's Day special TLD, which is an Indian flag and a lady. So Indian women now have a exclusive namespace for themselves. And on the 25th of March, we will go live with the Bengali TLD for .bha. This is what we have planned for March. Going forward, on the 15th of April, which is the regional New Year, in many cultures in our country, Malayalam, Punjabi, and the Tamil TLDs will go live for .bha. On the 2nd of May, which is Eid, the Urdu versions will go live in India and the Arabic version of .umma. I don't know how many of you are aware of that culture, but Umma means community and it's a very core tenet to the cultures over there. So that will go live in the Arabic script on Eid on the 2nd of May in the Middle East. June, we are looking to kind of finish the app and launch it on Android and iOS. SLD marketplace by June, July time. That's what we are targeting. Will we have a separate app for the marketplace or will we integrate it into Agamin? We've not yet decided, but in either form, we will have the app out by that time. Or that's the aspiration. That's what we are working towards. Rest of the Indian vernacular TLDs by October 2022, and by December we will wrap up all the emoji TLDs. Now in Jan, we don't know. I know there are email services in the Handshake ecosystem, and so we will see how that develops. If that develops, then we may not need that, but so we'll have to take a call. We're not sure, but otherwise we want to make sure that all of these regional names are going out. They find expression as vanity emails and people can start personalizing them straight away. So that is something we have in mind. Depending on whether we do that or not, there may be an email app in Feb. And of course, Feb 2023, hopefully I will see you again here. So I know it's been a long 24-minute, 49-second winding presentation. Thank you for putting up with me. I have a little gift for all of you who've attended this little session. You may be aware that we've launched .rarity for all of those NFT degens out there. So if you guys find it interesting and if you want to get SLDs on it, they're live right now on our website. You can use the promo code HandyCon 2022 to get yourself a 30% discount. The code is valid till 24th of March. Before I end the presentation, I would like to give a shout out to a lot of members in the community who've always been there and have helped in many ways. Some by way of interactions, some by way of direct feedback, some by way of direct action. A big shout out to Ritvik for helping us with our product. Thank you so much, man. Matthew, both the Webbies, Steve and Nit Paul, Michelini, Dees, and many others I may not be remembering. Thank you, all of you. You've all contributed to creating this in some way, and thank you so much. Namaskar. If anybody has any questions, I'm happy to take it.
All right.
You killed it, Sajin. Same energy as NamesCon. Awesome.
Awesome. Yeah, if there's questions, Prashant says great work. I think one of your team members is in the chats. It's great.
Yeah, if you guys are there, please say hello so that the community can reach out and connect with you.
But yeah, I noticed, I think it was Paul Webb said in the chat, it's great you're using you use some existing frameworks, right? A lot of people try to start from scratch and build from the ground up. Oh, Dakshita, I see in the chat. She says
there. That's one of, there she is. Hey.
Great.
So that's what we're trying to do right now. So these are our plans. And yes, sorry, I need to update the community because something amazing happened yesterday. I saw that presentation from Ritvik. So that HIP2 solution, that's also something we are really excited to ship. So I couldn't add it in the presentation, but that's also going to be there, preferably to the earlier part. So I'll be reaching out to you, Ritvik. Thank you.
All right, awesome.
Yeah, I think
great
a lot
to
of us
hear.
are excited. Yeah. Also, I think Luke is working on that. On that HIP2. Yeah, it's great. I think a lot of us are excited for the wallet address. Well, it's also known as well-known wallet. And then once that's implemented on the protocol level by Ritvik and Luke, then everyone can use it, right? Like Namebase can integrate it, Gateway, everyone, you can use it.
I just wanted to understand a lot of tech people here. If these all of these wallets typically, in my experience, start with the token name, right? If it's a Bitcoin wallet, it starts with a BTC. If it's an Ethereum wallet, it has a 0, whatever. All of them have. So what about a solution where maybe we just put that name in front of our handshake name, say maybe BTC Sergeant. I don't know. Can we fool the wallets just because it has the same starting extension?
Oh, I don't know about that.
Not sure. I think you got to put the @ symbol in front of it in HIP2 because they don't want it where you can register a handshake name with a Ethereum address or and look like an address when you're actually a name. So I think in the protocol, it's going to make you put an @ symbol at the beginning. I don't want to be quoted, but I've seen them discussing that because you won't just be able to type the name directly. You have to put like an @ symbol before the name in the address.
Yeah. So what I was asking was something very similar, where instead of the @ you just put the relevant chain thing. So you put maybe a BTC or whatever. Let me just take a look at MetaMask. Say, how does a MetaMask address look like? MetaMask addresses look like 0.
It's like 0x and then whatever chain of letters and numbers that you got.
So if it's like maybe I put 0x Sergeant to use it in the Ethereum ecosystem. I put BTC Sergeant to use it in the BTC ecosystem. I use Juno Sergeant to use it on Cosmos chain. So because all of those wallets tend to start with that. So that's what I wanted to, since I'm not a techie, I don't really know. Can a wallet be fooled? Like if I, instead of putting the actual Ethereum address, if I put 0x Sergeant, will the wallet get it? Will the wallet take it as an address?
I have no idea, but I probably if you sent funds to 0x Sajin or something like that, it'd probably get like lost or something, or the funds would basically be burned or something like that. But I'm also not a techie at all, so I can't 100% respond to that for sure. But I don't know.
No, the
if
funds
anybody
won't
else
get
has
burned because the idea is you have a, okay, I'm getting a let's wrap up message. So, okay, it's up to the wallet to implement. They wouldn't let you send it if they couldn't resolve names. Okay.
Oh, nope. There you go.
Thanks,
That definitely
Kiva.
answers.
Yeah, it doesn't work like that. It has the ticker in a URL.
All right. Well,
All right. Okay, so I think we're out of time.
Yeah, we're perfect timing, Sajjan. Yeah, I'm so happy you made it and shared and gave us some of your insights of how you built it as well. And I'm looking forward to seeing next year the amazing progress. And of course, hopefully we meet or see you online at future events. Let us.
We will be in touch. We will be in touch.
Yes.
So let's just do this.
Okay, great.
All right. Yeah, thanks
everybody.
Sajjan.
Have a great day.
All right. See you guys. We're going to be doing the closing there.
So happy Holi to everyone.
Thank you.
Kinetic is a blockchain crypto investment firm based in Hong Kong and Puerto Rico. Founded in 2016, they were the first fund in Hong Kong and one of the earliest in Asia. With a portfolio of over 220 companies, they were seed investors in such projects as Ethereum, Parity and Polkadot, Solana, FTX and of course Handshake and Namebase. Founder Johan Chu is an active investor and supporter of the Handshake ecosystem. Over 100,000 domains, co-founder of DWeb Foundation, co-founder of HandyCon, and sponsor of the Handshake House at Miami Hack Week 2022.